This is you. You're 7 years old, and you just watched your father execute a man on live television. The whole nation tuned in like it was the season finale of their favorite show. Your old man didn't even take off his reading glasses. But you didn't flinch. You didn't cry. You just kept eating your cereal. Because in this house, state-sponsored murder is just Tuesday morning programming. Welcome to the family business. You weren't born. You were deployed. Your mother didn't get a baby shower. She got a military escort to a fortified hospital wing, where 3 surgeons and a sniper on the roof made sure the heir apparent entered the world without complications. The second you took your first breath, a government photographer captured it. Not for the baby album, for the propaganda department. Your nursery is a bunker-grade suite inside the presidential palace with blast-resistant walls and air filtration designed to survive a chemical attack. Your mobile plays the national anthem. Your birth certificate lists your father's title before his name. You're not a child. You're a line of succession with a diaper. Growing up, you don't have friends. You have assets. The kids around you are the sons and daughters of generals and intelligence chiefs, pre-screened, background checked, and monitored by palace security. Every playdate is a diplomatic summit. Every birthday party is a networking event. You learn to share toys the way your father shares power. You don't. Your old man is a piece of work. On camera, he's the people's champion, the liberator who freed the nation from colonial chains. The propaganda posters make him look like a Marvel superhero, crossed with a Fortune 500 CEO. But behind closed doors, he's a machine, cold, calculating. The kind of guy who schedules bathroom breaks and considers laughter a tactical weakness. He doesn't hug you, he inspects you. Every interaction is a performance review. At dinner, he quizzes you on military history, while other kids your age are debating whether Batman could beat Spider-Man. You get one answer wrong, and his fork freezes mid-air. That silence hits harder than any belt ever could. You'd rather he screamed. At least screaming means he cares enough to be angry. The silence means you don't even register. And in this house, being irrelevant is worse than being hated. Your mother is a different tragedy. She was once a brilliant literature professor with a laugh that could light up a lecture hall. Your father didn't marry her for love. He married her for optics. A beautiful, educated wife is the ultimate PR accessory for a dictator cosplaying as a Democrat. Now she shows up for state dinners, waves at the cameras, and self-medicates with enough wine to fill an Olympic swimming pool. Some nights, she sneaks into your room and reads you poetry with glassy eyes. You don't understand the verses, but you understand the sadness. She's a hostage who sleeps in silk sheets. Then there's your older brother, the golden child. This guy came out of the womb doing push-ups. Your father looks at him the way a venture capitalist looks at a unicorn startup. Pure investment energy. He gets the military academy. You get the civilian school. He gets war room briefings. You get a tutor and a curfew. Your father plays you against each other like a coach running a permanent tryout. You bring home a policy essay you wrote about economic reform. Genuine effort. Your father reads the first paragraph, puts it down, and says, "Your brother's unit captured a rebel outpost today. 0 casualties." The essay never gets mentioned again. You find it a week later in the trash, unfinished. School is a joke. You attend the nation's most elite academy, but nobody grades you honestly. Every test comes back perfect. You could turn in a crayon drawing of a stick figure, and your professor would call it a groundbreaking deconstruction of postmodern art. Around age 12, the emptiness hits. You realize your grades aren't a reflection of your mind. They're a reflection of everyone's fear. You're not a student. You're a participation trophy with a pulse. The other students treat you like a walking minefield. They laugh at your jokes 3 seconds too fast. They agree with your opinions before you finish the sentence. One kid accidentally bumps into you in the hallway and apologizes so hard you'd think he just rear-ended the Pope's motorcade. Nobody says no. Nobody disagrees. It's like being an NPC in your own life, except everyone else is the NPC programmed to keep you comfortable. You start testing it on purpose. You give blatantly wrong answers in class debates, just to see if anyone corrects you. Nobody does. You say something deliberately stupid at lunch, and 3 kids nod like you just dropped a TED Talk. The loneliness is insane. You've never had a single honest conversation with another human being outside your immediate family. And the conversations inside your family are less family dinner, more Pentagon briefing. Then comes the incident that rewires your brain. You're 14, and you've snuck out of the palace for the first time. You ditch the security detail through a service tunnel and end up in the city's poorest district. What you see doesn't compute. Kids your age selling fruit in blistering heat with hollow eyes. A woman crying because she can't afford bread. The same bread your palace kitchen tosses into the garbage by the truckload every day. You try to buy her a loaf. You pull out a bill and the vendor recognizes you, not from school, from the massive portrait of your father hanging in every shop and every classroom in the country. Within seconds, the entire market is staring. Some bow, others run. One old man spits in the ground. Your security detail materializes from thin air and drags you back. Your father sits you down and gives you a masterclass in realpolitik with the warmth of a Wikipedia article. He tells you poverty is not a bug, it's a feature. A hungry population is an obedient population. People with full stomachs start asking questions. People with empty ones just ask for more rice. He says this with the tone of a CEO explaining quarterly earnings. No emotion, just spreadsheets. Something inside you cracks, not breaks, cracks, like a windshield that's taken a rock but hasn't shattered yet. You look at your father, and for the first time, you don't see the hero from the posters. You see yourself in 30 years, explaining to your own kid why starving people is just good policy. You hit 18, and the palace throws you the most dystopian birthday party in history. The ballroom is dripping with gold leaf and moral bankruptcy. Your gift isn't a car, it's a cabinet position, Minister of Youth Development. Your father announces it on live TV like he's unveiling a new iPhone. Social media goes nuclear. The hashtag Prince of Poverty trends for 3 days. Diaspora Twitter posts side-by-side photos of your birthday cake next to the breadlines. The memes are devastating. One shows your face photoshopped onto a toddler in a CEO chair. Caption, Employee of the Month. Every month since birth. You want to be offended, but your brain won't let you. Because they're right. You were installed like a forced software update nobody asked for. But dictator kids don't get imposter syndrome. You either perform or you become a liability. And liabilities in this family have a very short shelf life. Your cousin found that out 2 years ago when he questioned a military budget. He's currently enjoying an extended vacation at an undisclosed concrete location with no checkout date. So you lock in. You launch literacy programs. You push for school funding in provinces that haven't seen a government check since before you were born. You hire actual technocrats instead of the usual roster of sycophants and yes-men. Your team starts producing real results. For 6 months, you're feeling like the main character in a redemption arc. Schools get built. Literacy rates tick up. You visit villages and shake hands. And for the first time, the smiles aimed at you don't look like they were produced at gunpoint. The international press starts running cautiously optimistic pieces. The reformer prince. The hope for a new generation. You start believing your own hype. Maybe the son of the monster can be the cure. Your brother watches all this from his military command post with the enthusiasm of a guy watching someone try to put out a forest fire with a garden hose. He doesn't say anything. He doesn't need to. He knows how this story ends. Then your father calls a meeting. He's reviewed your projects. He congratulates you. Your heart swells. Then he explains why he's really pleased. Those schools? Fitted with surveillance equipment. Every classroom is a listening post. The internet access you expanded? Routed through a government firewall, tracking every citizen in real time. Your literacy textbooks? Laced with regime propaganda so subtle even you didn't catch it. Baked into the math problems. Woven into the reading passages. Every initiative you launched has been weaponized. You weren't building a better nation. You were building a better cage. You try to push back. He looks at you with amusement, like watching a hamster negotiate its way out of a wheel. He tells you about a general who once questioned his methods. The general is no longer anything. The conversation is over. You start drinking. The hiding vodka in a water bottle at 10 a.m. kind. You sign documents without reading them. You shake hands with warlords and smile for photos that will justify atrocities you'll learn about from leaked reports 6 months later. The cruelest part? The people love you. They send letters begging for help with their sick kids and disappeared relatives. You read every one. You can't do a damn thing. You're the customer service department of a company that's actively scamming its clients. The breaking point is pathetically mundane. You're at a state charity gala, the kind where billionaires and dictators cosplay as humanitarians. A woman from a rural village gets brought on stage as a prop. She thanks your ministry for the new school in her district. The crowd applauds. You smile on cue. After the cameras stop rolling, she grabs your arm backstage, eyes desperate. She whispers that soldiers came to her village last month and took her oldest son. He never came back. She's begging you, not the minister, you, the human being she thinks is hiding behind the title. You open your mouth and nothing comes out. A handler peels her off your arm and escorts her to the bus that will return her to the same village your father's soldiers raided. You go to the bathroom and throw up until there's nothing left. One night, drunk and spiraling, you stumble into your mother's wing. She's staring at nothing by the window. You ask her the question that's been eating you alive. How do you live like this? She gives you the most devastating 4-word answer in history. You get used to it. You don't get used to it. You start planning a quiet exit. You siphon money into offshore accounts through shell companies inside your ministry's development funds. Ironic. Laundering money through children's education programs. You make contacts with foreign embassies. You study the playbook of every dictator's kid who successfully ghosted their family. Most didn't end well, but some disappeared into European obscurity and reinvented themselves. That's your play. Get out. Get clean. Get free. But your brother gets wind of the escape fund. He doesn't snitch to dad. Too basic. Instead, he engineers a masterpiece. He leaks classified military intel to a neighboring state and frames you as the source. The evidence is manufactured but airtight. Timestamps, metadata, intercepted communications that never happened. A fake burner phone traced back to your ministry. His intelligence guys are terrifyingly good. They make the CIA look like they're running on dial-up. Your father summons you to the sub-basement. The room 3 stories underground, with soundproof walls thick enough to stop a confession from reaching God. People enter through the door. They leave through the drainage system. The evidence is laid out. You deny everything. You scream. For the first time, something flickers across your father's face. It's not mercy. It's calculation. You can literally see him running the cost-benefit analysis of killing his own son versus the PR fallout. Your life has been reduced to a spreadsheet cell. The formula is pending. He doesn't kill you. He strips you of everything. Title, access, identity. You're moved to a remote countryside estate, a gilded prison with a garden. Your security detail isn't there to protect you. They're there to make sure you rot quietly. Months of isolation designed to break you without leaving marks. No visitors, no news, no internet. Just the endless hum of crickets and the slow realization that the world has completely forgotten you exist. You start talking to yourself, then arguing with yourself, then losing the arguments. You grow tomatoes in the garden because you've got nothing else. Half of them die. You relate. You think about your mother constantly. You wonder if she's okay, if okay is even a word that applies to her anymore. You think about the old man who spat on the ground in the market. You wonder what he'd say if he could see you now, pulling weeds in borrowed clothes with dirt under your nails. He'd probably spit again. Then one morning, the guards are gone, gates open, cameras offline. Your first instinct isn't freedom, it's terror. Nothing in this family happens by accident. You find an old radio, static, then chaos, a military coup. Your brother made his move. The generals backed the heir who actually scares them. Your father is detained. State TV plays the anthem on loop, which in dictator language means someone just got regime changed. Hard. Through the static, you hear your brother's first executive order, a nationwide purge of anyone connected to the old regime, especially family members. Blood relatives rounded up like expired inventory during a corporate restructuring. You're not exiled anymore. You're hunted. You grab what fits in a bag. You walk out dressed in the groundskeeper's clothes. For the first time in your life, you look like everyone else. No suit. No motorcade. No last name clearing the path ahead of you, like a red carpet rolled out by fear. You hitch a ride with a farmer hauling onions to a border market. He doesn't recognize you, because why would he? To him, you're just another skinny, desperate nobody with bad shoes. The irony is brutal. Your father spent decades making the poor invisible. Now that invisibility is the only thing keeping you alive. 3 days of running, sleeping in ditches, drinking from rivers that probably have more bacteria than your father has enemies, eating whatever strangers offer because your pride died somewhere on a muddy road between the estate and the border. You reach a refugee camp, the same kind your father's policies created. The same kind you once saw in briefing documents and dismissed as a logistical footnote. Tents of tarps and trash bags, kids with distended bellies and 1,000-yard stares. The smell of smoke and hopelessness baked into the dirt. You stand in line for food. You hold a tin plate. A volunteer scoops rice and gives you a smile so genuine it almost destroys you. She has no idea she's feeding the son of the man who made this camp necessary. You sit in the dirt and cry. Not for yourself. For the first time in your entire counterfeit life, you cry for them. You hear the convoy before you see it. Military trucks. Your brother soldiers sweeping the camps. Checking faces against a most wanted list that definitely has your photo on it. Efficient. Methodical. They learned from the best. Nowhere to run. The camp is flat and open. A little girl tugs at your sleeve. She doesn't know who you are. She just sees a scared man sitting in the dirt. She hands you a piece of candy and says something you don't understand, but the meaning is universal. It's going to be okay. The soldiers are 2 rows away. You think about your mother and her poetry. Your father's fork frozen mid-air. The woman who couldn't afford bread. Every document you signed without reading. Every hand you shook that belonged to a monster. Every time you told yourself you'd fix it tomorrow. Tomorrow just got cancelled. An officer scans your face, looks at his tablet, back at you. The algorithm makes the ID. His expression doesn't change. You stand up slowly. You don't run. You don't scream. You don't beg. You just hand the little girl back her candy. Where you're going, you won't need it. Your whole life, you thought you were trapped in your father's story, a prisoner of his ambition, a hostage of his legacy. But the truth is colder than that. You were never a prisoner. You were a product, manufactured, branded, and deployed for maximum political ROI. And now, like every product that outlives its market cycle, you're being permanently discontinued. The officer steps forward. 2 soldiers flank you. The little girl watches with confused eyes as they walk you toward the trucks. The last thing you see is the sky, massive, blue, and completely indifferent. Somewhere in a palace you'll never see again, your brother sits in your father's chair. It still smells like cologne and cold decisions. He kicks his boots up on the desk. He doesn't think about you. He's already forgotten your name. The cycle doesn't end. It just updates the firmware and reboots. That's a wrap for today. Drop your take in the comments. I've got more deep dives into the dark side of power coming soon. Smash that subscribe button so you don't miss the next drop. Catch you on the next one.